All right, welcome back to the shop. So this video, I've got this transmission. It's from a Caterpillar. I believe he said it's a 631 E, I think. I've got to call him back and make sure, you know, but we can go ahead and get it apart anyways without knowing that. Simple enough. Right now we're trying to slide this off with the torque converter, and there it goes. So we'll set that aside. This we'll get into later. Most likely it's not going to need any attention from us, just because of the way we're rebuilding this. It's not a full rebuild, it's more of a repair. So we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and pull the valves out of this and then start taking this one apart. All right, so with the transfer case off the back, you can see the torque converter right here, and then here's the valves here. We're just going to undo these bolts, pull this top section of this valve off. He'll lay it in that clean tub over there, and then we'll unbolt the next section down and the next section down, and we'll set all those in the tub, and then we'll have a clear shot of the Planetary group inside there, and then we will be able to lay this, flip the case, and then pull the torque converter out and the Planetary group. So that's the first set, the first stack. Then we'll pull these bolts out. These ones across the top, and then this section will come off. And then there's the one more unit right behind it. We'll pull that out separately, but it's got all these tubes here for the oil to go through into the manifolds for the Planetaries. So then that'll be, once we get, and then we got to pull this. This here is for the cooler hoses, got the tranny cooler. We'll pull that off the side so we can pull this tube out, and then we'll be able to get that whole bottom section of the valves out. Probably have some suction holding it down. And it weighs about 80 pounds. Yeah, that's fine like that. And then for this one here, we'll just unbolt this manifold right here. We have to pop this tube out, unbolt these, and this bolt here, and then we just unbolt this manifold here, and then we'll pull this off and pop these tubes out, and then this should come up. I can pretty much guarantee you guys this is going to have a bad clutch pack, because everything I touch in here has got clutch material. I'm getting a little bit of steel too, which I did have on the magnets, but there's a lot of clutch material. Okay, so we've got both the sections taken out of the main housing. He's already steam cleaned up that housing. We haven't done anything with the transfer gears yet. That's going to be last. I did talk to the owner. It's out of a 623E is what it is. So I got the serial number in case we need to print up any of the documentation for disassembly or an assembly. First thing we're going to do is pull the bolts out of here, pull this manifold off the top, and just start unstacking this and work our way down. So I'm pretty sure what we're going to find is a bad clutch pack in there, just because of the amount of clutch material I'm seeing in here. So anyways, we'll find out when we get it apart. You always get one bolt else. Try to stick on you. Go and lay it on its side. Oh, look at all that clutch material sitting in the cavity on the piston. That looks good. Someone's been in here before. They cleaned it with a unitized wheel or something. Somebody polished that off. You can tell by the pattern on it. This pack looks okay so far. get all the dowels and springs out of there, and then you can lift this next manifold section up. I think this ring's going to come off, this gear here is, and then I don't know if this will lift off yet or if we pull this Planetary out yet. I haven't printed up the paperwork on the shed on disassembly, so we're just kind of working our way through it. If we come to a spot that there's a snap ring or something weird, we'll just go print up the disassembly instructions. But it's a very small transmission. There's not much in this one, so I doubt we're going to really need to print the disassembly. We'll definitely do the reassembly. We'll print it up just so we get this thing together, make sure it's right, because you never know who rebuilt this last. They may have put stuff in here wrong. Happens all the time. Get your fingers under there. There you go. Get that ring gear off. Yeah, I think this reaction plate, that's a manifold. That manifold should come off. Here, grab that manifold there. Nope, not yet. Oh yeah, it'll come off. There you go. And then just lay it up. So now watch out for that piston so it doesn't fall out.
I'll keep all these in separate boxes.
Yeah, just lay those in the middle of that gear over there, and then that way we'll know which ones they are when we go to reassemble it.
It's just freaking slippery.
How's that look?
It's alright.
These are those, I don't know what they're like a bronze or something like that. Oh, look at this plate. Jeez, this thing got some water in it at some point. We saw the rust on here, and I was wondering why that was rusty, if someone had just assembled it that way, because the rest isn't. But we just got in here and there's rust on that plate. So this thing had gotten some water intrusion. I know they were diagnosing it for a while, and the guys had the valves out, and we're trying to sort it out, see if it had a cut in the valves or something that was causing it not to shift. And I don't know that they got the cover on very well, because we found one of the cover bolts laying inside the transmission case. So I think they had a rough day. It definitely got water in this thing. All right, well, this pack isn't the one that's destroyed yet, so I'll get the camera back on when we get to the next pack. Yeah, it's
3 minutes later.
There you go. Okay, so next we have to bend these tabs down and pull these 3/8 bolts out and remove these locks, and then this ring will come out. These tabs are kind of old school stuff, these lock plates. They used to use these in all kinds of stuff on the Cat engines and transmissions, and nowadays you just don't see them anymore. I think they just trust the fact that you can tighten them down, or else they tell you to put Loctite if it needs it. I just can't get a good shot here with this shade in the sun, and that way we know to go with that. And then our next mission, we're going to pull these two 3/8 bolts out, and then that'll take this number 6 clutch housing off. They tell you to use clamps in here to hold the piston into the clutch housing, which is stupid. I understand we do that on assembly, which I do have. They have special vice grips just for that, but on disassembly it doesn't matter, because as soon as we set it down, the book's going to tell us remove the piston from the clutch housing, so we won't bother doing that step out of the book. So just pull these 2 bolts, and then this will lift off. It says use tooling B to lift it off, so I think you're tooling B today. I'll be tooling A, you could be tooling B. It's the whole thing, just grab the flange.
Oh. You don't need tooling for that.
Just make sure the piston doesn't drop on your foot or something. Yeah, flip it upside down and just lean it on that ring gear. That helps us with the sequencing going back. And these clutches are terrible. This is our failure point right here. This disc is bent and melted. It's all cone shaped. That's it right there. Clutch number 6. Oh, look at the plate's broken. Hang on. All right, so yeah, this is clutch pack number 6. You know, we saw that disc right there is just totally wiped out. Here's the plate. It's just broken into what, 4 or 5 pieces. look at the plate below it, or the disc below it. Grab these plate pieces. I don't know. This is what I expect to find when I pull a transmission apart. For any of you guys that watched my video that came out last week on, or yeah, I guess it was last week, on taking apart a Cat 745 transmission, and I couldn't find any obvious damage at first till I got real deep in. Well, till I had it all the way apart, I was able to actually look at every disc really close up. That's the only way I found the problem. This is what we usually expect to see. We see a pack that's just wiped out. So this dang it. Well, this plate right here, this separator plate's wasted. We'll have to get this, and I got to get that with the parts list for the owner so he can source one of those. The discs and plates are simple. We'll buy those at the dealer, but this, he's going to have a used one or something that we'll be able to replace this with. All right, so next we're going to pull off that separator plate. I think it might be actually a reaction plate. Yeah, I can't see it. Go ahead and just set that down over there. Yeah, that was just a plate, actually. I thought it might have been a reaction plate, but it's not. All right, so now my battery went dead when I was filming, but he removed these, pulled these 8 bolts out of here, these 3/8 bolts, these 8 of them. And we took the sun gear off the top, we took a snap ring off, took the sun gears off, and then we removed these 8 bolts, and then this carrier, or this Planetary, is going to lift off of there now. There we go. And we got another pack down below that, which is, so the last one I said was pack number 6. I was mistaken, it was pack number 5. And then so this is going to be pack number 4. That looks beautiful. Go ahead and unstack this. It's got the little buttons in there. Just collect all these buttons and put them in a pile. And then we'll have to check those before we go back together. When these go back together, it's interesting. They had problems with these years and years ago, like back in the 70s, where this pin would come out. And so now when you stack these, they tell you a certain way to stack them so that if the pin decides it's going to come out, it can't. You put these whichever way it's going to be to block the pin from coming out. They had a lot of transmission failures way back then with those. I'm sure they're probably making them better now anyways, but they're really cool. They're fun to play with. Got a little spring in it. They got a little sound to when you drop them. Yeah, they're just kind of fun. Here. I remember when I was a kid, I used to go in the shop when I rebuild them, and I'd play with crap like that. And I'd go and just unstack these plates. Alright, so we got all that junk out of there. Next will be this gear cluster right here. Go ahead and grab and slide that up. It should lift right out of there. And then our next move will be to pull this snap ring off here. And then we should be able to pull this manifold out of here. So this is interesting. We're at the point here we've got to remove these snap rings. We just pulled the one off of this bearing here, and then we're going to pull the one off the shaft. Cat says to remove this ring right here, and then remove this differential spider gear housing, which I don't know how that photo got there, but it doesn't belong there. And then they say to slide the shaft out, and I think that's all wrong. So we took this ring out, which I don't think we needed to yet, but it's not a big deal. We're going to pull this one off. Then I think we can lift this manifold housing off of the shaft. I think that's how it's going to disassemble. Either that or this rotating this rotating clutch unit. I'm not sure. But this book, like this stuff was printed probably in the 90s, and they still haven't fixed that. And the sequence is wrong here. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. Got him just in time to see him get his fingers hurt. Look at the snap ring. It's made of like 5/16 spring steel. They're a pain to get off. Alright, so grab that manifold. Just try lifting it off. I don't know that it will. It's either that or it's going to be that rotating piston that's going to come out. We might just have to hook a chain to that doesn't slide it out. Oh yeah, nice. Constant barrage of oil coming out of these things all the time. Look how gooey that oil is. Ugh. God, freaking nasty. There we go. Use that gravity crane. All right. Anything on the back side? Oh yeah, there's one more housing on or pack on the back side. We'll have to flip that over to get to it. This is a rotating clutch group. All right, now we're able to lift this manifold housing off the shaft, and then we'll flip it over. Sorry about the lighting, guys. It's just so hard to film here, and then stupid sun coming in. It's going to be 100 degrees today, so we're not closing the shop doors, that's for sure. Yeah, just there you go. Now what we'll do is, I don't know that we have to pull these ones out, but let's pull these ones out, and then we'll see if this end plate comes off, and we can pull those clutches and plates out. It's gonna be a 3/8. It's just stuck on the dowels. All right, so we get that off, and then we can get a nice quick look at these discs. Yeah, those look pretty good so far. You can tell somebody was in here not that long ago. These have all been resurfaced, kind of reconditioned. And we get more of these little spring things to play with. So we'll get this piece apart. I won't bother filming the rest of that unless we find something crazy in there. And our next step will be to take the torque converter off of this next Planetary housing and disassemble this. I think we'll do. Okay, so we've got that section of the Planetary group disassembled. We did find our problem for sure. We're still going to take this one apart just to make sure we don't have two problems, which we may. So I thought these separated before taking them apart, which they don't on this type of unit, on this unit. So we're going to lift this up as a unit. We're going to set it down here on our rebuild stand, and then we'll just start unstacking the Planetary group from here. And once it's all unstacked, then we remove it from the torque converter, and then we can take the torque converter apart. The torque converter is probably fine, I'm sure it is, because I did see the scraper about months ago. I was in his yard and they were trying to diagnose it back then, and torque converter does work, I saw that, but it's going to be full of garbage from that clutch pack going bad. So, and we'll check it anyways. I mean, all this thing's here on the ground, we're going to check it. So we'll get this thing swung over here with the crane, and then I'll come back to you guys when we start taking it apart. Hang on a second. God, look at that casting. Terrible. Jeez. But this thing's probably 30 years old, so I guess it worked. It's on the dowel, so it's going to need to be. All right. Something went through here. It's got some good chips in there. We'll have to look at these clutches real carefully. Go ahead and get all these buttons out, and then we'll got like clutch material everywhere. These dowel holes are nice and loose. Jeez. All right, so this is the number 2 clutch that we've been pulling apart here. Go ahead and pull that gear out of there. We already got the piston, which had those little lock tab deals in here. We got that out and got the discs out, and that all looked okay. There's a lot of steel embedded in the seals for the piston though. All right, so we're trying to fish the sun gear out of here. Some of this stuff can be really fun. Okay, so we got this sorry about that. We got this, Alex grabbed this hard drive magnet to stick on there, and it's gonna pull it right up for us. There we go. Oh, now then. All right, so next will be this snap ring here. We'll pull this snap ring here out. Finger biter to me. There we go. Get that. So we'll remove the bolts from here, and then this top plate will come off, and then we can pull the clutches and plates out of that number 1 clutch housing. You know, a lot of times when I edit these, I'll edit out stuff like this, just pulling bolts, pulling snap rings and stuff. Let me know in the comments, you guys, if you'd want to see us as we pull bolts and snap rings and the smaller pieces out of it. I usually just, because of my ADHD, I just want to get to the point, so I like edit all that junk out. We just move the big parts. But if you like seeing that stuff, let me know, and that'll help me in editing these to see if I'll make the video better for you guys. Screwdriver, pry that end up. There you go. Yeah, these dowels are a lot tighter. In fact, I'm gonna borrow this dowel because I want to check these dowel holes on here. These are extremely loose. I talked to the owner about that. Let's see if he's got one of these or what he wants to do about that. Go through and mic them and stuff before we're done. These bronze type ones, they don't wear the same as the paper ones. The paper ones, we definitely, you see the wear, you mic them, you check them. These ones here, there's other things to look for. There's chipping on them and stuff like that, as well as micing them, you know, but they don't seem to wear out as far as, you know, getting thinner. They seem to just kind of start to chip and disintegrate. All right, so that's it for pulling this transmission section apart. We just lifted that manifold off. I didn't bother to film it because we both grabbed it to pick it up. That thing weighs about 80 pounds or so. And we did find a bad clutch pack, which is what I love to see because it really hurts to not find anything wrong and then put it back together and hope it works. Or hope whatever is wrong with the machine is, you know, isn't still broken, whatever. But so now I'm just gonna go print up the documentation for disassembling the torque converter, and then we'll disassemble the torque, and then that'll be it for this video after we get that done. And then we'll do a separate video when we reassemble it. All right, so we're back from lunch, and now we're taking this torque apart. So he's just getting that snap ring out of there, like a spiral snap ring, and then this hub will lift off, and we'll pull off all these bolts out of the housing. There's another set of bolts down here on the hub, and then we can lift this cover off and then just unstack the impeller and stuff and the stator out of the torque. Make sure there's no damage in there. Bolts in that ring in the tray. Or just this. Yeah.
Months later. So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Check this out for cracks. Hear that nice ring? That means it's not cracked. If it was cracked, it would have just been a thud. Alright, grab that impeller, slide it out. Oh, I'll slide that hub out. Flip it over. Yeah, I grabbed this bearing and set it on top of there, top of the race on that. And if this race will lift off, do the same. It might not. Nope, just grab that whole impeller then. Should lift out of there, unless there's a retaining ring under that race. Yeah, I'll get the screwdriver and see if that race will lift off there though. Guess I could look in the paperwork.
That's not fun.
Yeah, hang on a minute. Alright, so it comes out with this carrier, so you can just grab that carrier right there and you should be able to just give it a good... There we go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, we can reassemble that. Those are the lock-up sprags. It's a sprag, and those are the lock-up rollers and springs in there. They're fun to put back together. They're not that bad, but I think there was supposed to be a lock ring holding all that together. Maybe not on this version. A lot of them, there's a lock-up ring that holds that stator, or not stator, but holds that sprag together inside there. Go ahead and just grab that. See if that thing will lift out of there now. Yeah, we'll just be careful not to knock the rest of those springs and rollers out, and then we'll... You can sit in that tub behind you. Well, that's fine.
I tried.
This next one's going to be full of oil, so just have that tub behind you ready. In fact, set that impeller back there just because it's going to be dripping for a week. Just get ready with that. Torque converters are something you could just never friggin' drain. There's no way to get all the oil out of them until you don't want to make a mess. Let's see if this comes with it. Hopefully we don't get a bunch of oil out of the bottom of that when that lifts out. If it starts to, we can... Yeah, it should be alright. There must be a retainer in there. Most of these torque converters are the same. They come apart the same, but some do have differences. Let me look and see. All right, so when we took it apart, this whole sprag unit came apart. The one-way sprag, that clutch, it sits on there. That's not a big deal. Then we're trying to get the impeller out, whatever that thing's called, and it wouldn't come off the shaft. And the disassembly says nothing about this, but we removed this little snap ring here, and then we can get the shaft out, and then we'll be able to get that impeller out of there. Just be careful when you, yeah. Alright, now go ahead and pull that pull the center shaft out first. Well, it don't matter, you're already done now. Okay, so I'll get that out. Just set that in an oil bath, it's fine. And then we got the bearing down here. We'll check this out. We'll check this stuff out for cracks and whatever we need in here. The torque converter's, it's fine. It was working fine, didn't have a problem. But we do want to clean it up and get all that crap out of there. We'll get all these holes cleaned out. We'll steam clean all this clutch material out of here that just sticks in here. And then we can pretty much just reassemble the torque converter. That won't be a big deal. This one doesn't have a lockup clutch in it. If this thing's in reverse, first or second, it's always torque converter. There's no lockup in those lower two gears in reverse. Once it hits third gear, it's running on that other shaft, so then it's direct drive. So they don't need a lockup clutch in here. So it's just kind of how these are built. A little different than most of the transmissions that I end up getting through here out of rock trucks. So anyways, that's it. Just a quick dirty video on getting this dirty transmission apart and seeing what's wrong with it. Fortunately, we found very obviously what is the problem. So now it's all about just clean it up. I talked to the owner already. I've got to check out the one manifold closer for the dowel holes to make sure that, see what we're going to do about those, if we're going to replace that or repair them, whatever. That plate that's destroyed with clutch pack number 5, I already found a used one of those for them. Local cat dealer shows they have one. So we'll get all the parts together, seals, clean all this crud up, and next week we'll be reassembling this one. So I'll probably do a video of reassembling it. I think it'll make a good video. It's a nice small transmission, it's quick. There's not a whole lot to this one. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please hit that like button. Whether you liked it or not, hit it. Yeah, screw YouTube and Google, right? Hit that like button no matter what. Share the video with a friend, please, and comment anything. Comment that I'm stupid, comment that my son's ugly, because he used to be a lot more handsome. Let's just put it that way. I don't know what's going on with him. He was a cute little boy. When he was like a little boy, 7, 8-year-old boy, he was the sweetest little cute little boy. I don't know what happened. Probably living in France for 6 years probably ruined him. I don't know. But anyways, comment, please, because that helps. Because I put a lot of work in these videos, and it slows me down on the work I do here. It's a few hours editing, doing all that stuff. And if you guys comment, it just helps with the algorithm. So YouTube says, hey, people are interested. They're talking about it. We'll share it to more people. And then I get more viewers and stuff, and that'll help. So anyways, thank you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time watching, and I appreciate your time commenting and everything else. And anyways, thank you. Have a good day.
Man, if I start getting called ugly, it's gonna be